Hello, I trust you are doing well. This is B.L. Carter here, affectionately known as Miss B. This particular video goes to a certain set of people, descendants of Julian Todd and William Bill. First, let me say that 404 number that you've had for me for the last 25-30 years is being held hostage for the sole purpose to limit my ability to communicate with others and for others to not be able to communicate with me. The particular person that is holding it is a part of a larger group, and I have information that could negatively impact persons of that group, the leaders of that group, in a financial way, in a social way, as far as their character and their reputation, as well as some criminal activity. And so they have sought to do whatever they could to keep me as isolated as possible. And that includes that 404 number, that includes the alternate number that some of you have for me, that includes emails, mail, credit, any public databases, anything that is attached to me. They are, working illegal stuff, of course, to manipulate that information so that you cannot reach me. So those of you who are trying to reach me, Tracy and the Burnett's can always get me. I touch base with them regular enough to where, that would be an alternate source to reach me. And, we just got to kind of ride this process out. But that's neither here nor there. In light of things that are going on in the world today, I wanted to refer you to a few videos that may help shed some light. Without going into a lot of detail, just know that much in these videos is confirmation from me about things that I've been given or shown or come across, or information that just kind of fell on me or in my lap over these last 30 years. Know that as I shared stuff with some select ones of you, you often chose to mock and ridicule, to shame, to defame, to call me crazy, to call me cuckoo, snooty, white girl. I remember I even heard them explain to somebody else, don't, just ignore her. She can't help herself. Anti-government, you name it, whatever y'all wanted to call it. So, and even when y'all would see me in deep thought or strategy on some things, the choice would be to assume that I was planning something evil or crooked or criminal. But here now, I tell you, it was not that. It was a matter of toying with the information being given to me, how to process it, how to handle it, what to do with it, or just toying and strategizing with some particular project that I may have wanted to do. And so it is unfortunate that, several of you would choose to find negative in anything about me, even though 99% of the time you never attempted to clarify any of your assumptions or presumptions. Y'all would see me bust my butt to be in financial position to make moves and progress out of the pit of poverty that our family was born into just because of the generational stuff. It was to prepare for times like this. It was to be a path into our financial better. Someone's got to create the path and the others can follow. Many of you chose to try to block my progress on that path instead of help me to progress and pull so that I could pull you on up. Many of you had no real knowledge or strategic plan on how to create that path yourselves. And so when I did it, you chose to sabotage my efforts, and look where we are. The ones that I did try to help actively chose to use their connections with me as basically a free ride. And when I tried to put an end to the free ride, it became defame, destroy, anything you could to sabotage. Kind of like that crab in a barrel thing. And if I can't have what you've worked for, if I can't enjoy the benefits of your hard labor, then I'm going to destroy you enjoying the benefits of your hard labor. That's what was done. When I remember warning of various government actions and possible actions. You know, they're spying on us. They're taping our phone calls. The gentrification, the nickel and diamond of our finances to position us and keep us locked into certain things. The redlining of the real estate, the interest rates on different things, the putting the guns, the drugs, all of that, and any plot to kill us or get us to kill ourselves. Anything that would keep the black community down and never making progress. I remember sharing those things with various ones of you. And oftentimes it was, I was just being paranoid, or I was being anti-government, or I couldn't help myself, or, I was crazy, stuff like that. So I wonder, as you look at the news these days and see stuff that's going on, if you still share those same sentiments, or if you finally come to realize what was put in me and given me to see, to give to you all to prepare. Think about where you would be, or, how things could be different had you taken heed instead of trying to tear down the messenger. I remember opting for private school for my kids, and I remember being ridiculed specifically. I was told I was being snooty. My kids weren't better than anybody else's. They could go to public school like everybody else. Yet, I don't remember anyone ever researching any of the things I brought up about the public school system. I remember people actually taking action to worsen, if you will, to diminish my financial state, such that private school was not affordable anymore for my kids. Yet later, some of the very same people came to realize that there were some issues with public school, and I even saw them putting their kids in private school, or being a little bit more careful and selective about the public schools that they put their kids in, just because they realized what I'd been saying, and when I said when mine were little, there was some validity to it. And here we are today with Common Core, which is I think in 46 states mandated. Cat is out of the bag on education. We see where our kids are across the nation. They're last, or around the world. I don't know the actual stats, but our kids can't compare to anybody in anything. And that was by design. It was structured that way. But I saw that. I'd done the research on it. And y'all chose to try to block my children from being in position because I guess you wanted to get at me, or you didn't believe me, or whatever, and then turn around and use the information to benefit your kids. And that's what family does. That's sad, but I remember seeking to make investments, real estate investments, that would have preserved some things, especially our family history, and position us as a family to be able to weather bad times and even worse times to come. And I remember some of you chose to stab me in the back, go behind my back, sabotage my plans, and then turn around and take advantage of some of those real estate opportunities. So you had your own agendas. I could go on and on about the various warnings that I gave, and the various ways that you chose to ostracize, demonize, try to make me crazy, try to make me plot in some illicit or criminal or unethical action. And in hindsight, I see that's where your heart was, because absent giving you any reason to think that I was a criminal or illicit or unethical or anything like that, you went based on whatever was in your heart and whatever rumor you heard. Never taking the time to clarify or verify anything. You just acted based on what you heard. And it's really sad that we do that to each other. It's really, really sad that we do that. But just wanted to highlight MJT, and you know who that is. MJT, before she passed away, acknowledged some of these things to me, and she acknowledged to my children. When she did actually pass away, I distinctly remember talking to 3 specific people about the estate, the burial, the assets, the insurance, kind of all that stuff that you do after someone passes away. And I knew the information that she and I had discussed. Y'all didn't know what she and I discussed. You didn't know what she told me was specifically in place. What I knew from other people who also confirmed what she said was specifically in place. One person outright launched an attack on me physically, socially, and legally. I remember one person having to be restrained just because they saw me and just tried to physically attack me. That person has yet to apologize for those actions against me and my children, because it was traumatic for my small children to see that. You know, you just walk up and your mom is being attacked physically. But your actions were based on lies that someone told you, and you just took it and ran with it. Again, just as you had been doing, just as you've done all this time. Take the lies of someone and run with it. That person did slip up later and acknowledge that they lied. They didn't say the words directly, but they made some statements that were very, very contradictory to everything that went down. And the new statements that they made aligned 100% with what I already knew. I just chose not to make a big deal about it. My thing is, if you had to go through all of that to steal, then you obviously needed that bad. And the blessing that was coming to me, God's got it. It's coming in another way. And I just left it alone. I chose not to continue to fight. Because to me, it's just insane that people will go through those measures to fight for stuff that is not theirs. But I can only surmise, because that person and I were on the phone discussing another family issue. And they were to call me back. They hurried up and got off the phone when they realized what they'd said. And they were to call me back and we'd finish resolving the issue at hand. From that, they did us when they've never called. I can only surmise that they realized they'd slipped up. And was part of the plot to steal my name, my birthright, my reputation, the tangible inheritance, my assets, my property. Second person kept their attack to a social thing, more like rumors and grapevine type of stuff. But they also helped guide that first person in the legal attack. This second person, 4 months before she passed, and the initials DL, you know who that is. She called. She said it had been on her mind. She could not rest from the time MJT passed away until the day she called me. It was wearing on her how things went down. And that, she apologized. She realized that she'd been lied to. And she took those lies and she ran with it. And, she was sorry for what she did. But she now saw the light. And she saw that she'd been lied to and played. She even asked me if the other parties had come forth and released the inheritance and my property that she knew for fact they had possession of. Of course, I told her no. She passed. It is what it is. The third person, this male looked me directly in my eye shortly after MJT passed. I asked them a specific question, and they looked me in my eye and said they knew nothing, did not want to get involved, but they had a smirk on their face. And I knew better. I knew better based on what I'd seen, what MJT and I had discussed, and what some other very key people had also discussed. But that let me know where that person stood. That gave me a piece of, a way to assess that person's integrity, and I just walked away. That person has since never acknowledged or apologized for their role in helping some people to steal what was not theirs. But this particular person did, at one point very recently, attempt to have dialogue with me, as if nothing ever happened, never apologized, never brought it up, just hugs, hey, how you doing, and carrying on as if everything's all hunky-dory. And of course, by now, most of y'all realize y'all have been played. You realize the plots on behalf of certain people. But here's the thing. At what point do you make atonement? At what point do you open your mouth and acknowledge what you did? But, and that's more so for my children than really for me. But because of my strong ties to the sisters, because I remember the stories they shared about Mama and Papa, because I spent way more time with them than most of you ever knew or gave credit for. You forget I live 2 hours away, and I spent many weekends there, even until when I moved there. So a lot of time was put in. You also forget that back in the early 90s, I believe it was, I did the research for the family genealogy. And so I spent a lot of time interviewing, getting notes, and talking with the sisters that were alive at the time. And so that bond was built. And somehow in that process, Papa and I developed a connection. I don't know how to explain it other than. And so I share this because I'm being led spiritually to share this information with you all. And it's not for you per se. I'd say the ones maybe my generation or a few years older than me and up to benefit, but it's more so for the people from my children on down kind of generation to benefit from. It's my duty to them. I feel like I'm being spiritually led to do so. You can call me whatever label you want to call me. That's often what people do when they have agendas, or when they're too lazy to do the work and verify the information, or when they're just plain trying to hide the truth of their bad actions or their dirt or their evil or something. You label the person, call them crazy, dismiss it, and go on. Well, more and more through all of this, I see the parallel that some of those sisters made many, many years ago. One said to me, "You know, you've been called out to be the one to help save your people." I didn't like it when she said it, and I'm not necessarily happy about it now. But if that is my role, I'm trying to do what I feel like I'm being led to do. And as it's on my mind, I think of Mama and Papa, and that's who I feel like, for whatever reason, I'm spiritually being led to do. Another elder said to me, "You are the Joseph of the family. You are being positioned to help them when the time comes." And she shared this with me maybe 20 years ago, about 18, 20 years ago. Because I'd gone to her with some things that were going on. And she told me bottom line that I was the Joseph of the family. And I was being prepared to be the help when the time comes. And not in a small way for, $100, $200, or like somebody who has dogged me out, who I, provided them a bed to sleep on and stuff when they had nothing to sleep on. Not that kind of stuff. Like major, major big way that impacts the survival of our lineage, of our family history, of our family tree. So, excuse me, do what you will with the information. I've got a slide here that's going to show where you should start. And you should start with YouTube channels. The first one is mine, B.L. Carter. I've got a playlist in there, The Battle is Coming, or The Battle Coming. I suggest you go through that playlist, take heed to the information that's in there. And then the next YouTube channel, there's a guy named Lance Scurv. And actually, I think I have a link on his channel from mine. There are other shorter or other videos on both channels that will share more in-depth specifics on ways that we as a people have been prepped to be slaughtered, and ways that we as a people have been complicit in our pending slaughter. And, I provide this information. That's to get you started. I hope that you do your research. I hope you vet the information. But I'm doing what I'm supposed to do spiritually, what I feel like Mama and Papa for Julianne and Bill are asking me to do or wanting me to do. And I say to them that have an ear to hear and take the appropriate action. You be blessed and you be safe.